Welcome to Let's Hug It Out, the debate show where we argue the most important and serious topics ever, from virtual hugs to dogs versus cats to best fast food. When you're drunk, nothing is out of bounds as long as in the end, everybody hugs it out. I'm your host, Roberto Raad. Today's topic, it's one of my favorites, greatest superhero of all time. Dun, 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 dun. Ba, 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 ba. God, I hate myself. I really, you want to take a guess as to how many times I do that by myself in the mirror in the morning? Ba, 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 ba,
5.
ba. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. It is 5. That was an amazing guess for my first guest, aspiring filmmaker Cameron Ballanfonte. Cameron, what's up, buddy?
Not much, just ready to talk about truth, justice, and the American way.
Truth, justice, and the American way it is. Leading to my other guest, musician, director, and actor, Bryan Todd. Bryan Todd, what is up, buddy?
What is up, Roberto? How are you?
Roberto, I'm good. I like the way you roll your R. That's nice.
Yeah.
As you twirl your beautiful red mustache. You're ginger all over.
Ginger all over, except for where it counts.
Except for where it counts.
The
on
eyebrows?
your toe hairs. The eyeballs. The eyeballs and the toe hairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, how's it going? So, greatest superhero of all time.
Greatest superhero.
Bryan, what's your choice?
Wolverine, dog.
Wolverine, dog, he says. Wolverine. Strong for greatest superhero of all time. Wolverine. I'm going to stop rolling my R's. I sound awful. Cameron, your choice is not Wolverine. It is... for those who are listening and cannot see on YouTube, he's holding up The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight detective,
Batman.
The world's greatest detective, the Caped Crusader, all the superlatives for Batman.
Now, do you prefer Batman to be more like rugged and violent, or do you want him to be more detective-like? Or do you want an equal balance?
I want him to think his way out of anything until he just has no choice but to, all right, you asked for it. I tried to be nice. I tried to solve this non-violently, but you pushed it, you laughing goofball.
While we're on the subject of these characters, before we get into the debate, I don't know why I'm speaking. I'm using my open water bottle like a microphone. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's late. I'm tired.
Do the Superman theme one more time, and then maybe that'll do it.
You're talking like you were like Mean Gene Okerlund. Okay, folks, let me tell you all about Wolverine this year at WrestleMania.
God, I love Mean Gene Okerlund. Da, 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 da. Is that?
That's exactly how John Williams wrote it.
That elicited a yawn from you. A yawn.
No, I was
A wand?
No, I had something in the back. I had something in the back of my mouth, like trying to get it out.
What are you trying to get out of the back of your mouth? Are you eating something?
No, I had I got just a quick like a handful of chips, and I'm trying to get the salty potato mash.
All I see is him going like this, Brian. Him going like one of the characters in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Donald Sutherland, just right at you.
I think at this point, all of our listeners have just like shut everything off. There's been too much screaming.
Fucking Donald Sutherland and Mean Gene Okerlund. What the hell?
Brian, you chose Wolverine. What's your favorite Wolverine film?
Logan. Logan kind of exists outside of the other ones, I believe. It's its own little entity, but Logan's just an all-around great movie, in my opinion.
I love Logan. That is like a post-apocalyptic Western. It's fucking one of the most tragic scenes in any comic book movie with Professor X. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. You've had time to say it. When he dies. God, I think I actually cried multiple times in that movie. I cry in every movie, though.
Well, he dies thinking that Logan killed him, which is tragic in of itself.
Yeah. Sir Cameron, favorite Wolverine film?
Days of Future Past.
I was going to say Origins.
Interesting.
No, Origins missed it by that much. In Origins,
the Gambit in there was
But what puts Days of Future Past over Gambit, over Origins is essentially it's just a classic X-Men Wolverine story where he just goes goes in, does his mission, kicks some ass, and then goes home and cracks open a beer. And also, Hugh Jackman butt shot. Yeah.
Is there an actual butt shot? Really? My God, how
Yeah,
scandalous is
I
it?
think,
I hope
like,
that movie's
it's-
at least
it's-
PG-13.
It is, and it's when he wakes up, future Wolverine wakes up in past Wolverine's body, he's just got done banging some mafioso's girlfriend, and he just remembers,
Yeah.
Then he remembers what happened next, and he has to fight a bunch of guys naked. But you don't see the Hugh, you just see the Jackman.
You don't see Weapon X.
No,
He's like, hey, babe, you want to see my Weapon X?
you do not see the drill
Does
claw.
he have, what does he have in his adamantium? How do you say it?
Adamantium. But when he goes in the past, it's just bone. It was before he went through the Weapon X
so
program.
The adamantium just forges all of his bone, right?
Yeah, except his teeth for some reason.
Except for his teeth. Okay,
Yeah.
because my question was going to be, does he have adamantium in his dick? But there's no bone in your dick, so naturally.
No.
Wait, why is it in his? Why is it in his teeth? How come? Because the teeth are they?
Because they're connected they're connected to his skull. So you would think that if it got into his skull and everywhere else, that there would at least be some like run over onto his teeth. But no, his teeth are just normal teeth.
Real quick, we chose our favorite Wolverine films. Mine's Logan as well. For those who wanted to know, Logan is a fantastic film. I love it so much. Favorite Batman movie, Brian.
I have to go first. Batman '89 is probably my favorite Batman movie.
Batman, the Tim Burton film starring Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, and of course Jack Nicholson.
Followed very closely by
insane.
Batman Returns, specifically because of the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman and that face lick. The face lick did something to my psyche at a very young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was her. For me, it was her skipping rope.
Sexual.
Oh my.
For you, it was skipping.
Yeah, when
Don't
she's
forget, it also had. Go ahead.
well, she's using the bullwhip to skip rope. That's making something so pure, so naughty, and it works. And it's also Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. It's also got Christopher Walken. Spoiler alert. He's the
Yeah.
one that throws her out the window, and then all the cats come and start gnawing on her fingers. I remember when that happened. I was like, it really scared me as a kid when I saw that.
There's a lot of demented stuff in that movie.
And originally that was
Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Oh, his penguin is
And
terrifying.
originally,
I love Danny DeVito's penguin.
Originally, Walken's character was supposed to be Harvey Dent, played by Billy D. Williams, but some shit went down, and Harvey Dent was kicked out because the ending of Batman Returns, where he gets shocked, was supposed to be how that version of Two-Face got his scar.
I would have loved to have seen Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent.
Yeah, because he's
As
Harvey Dent
Two-Face.
in 19.
He would have been great.
Yeah, he was supposed to carry over from Burton's the original Batman, and that moment where he gets electrocuted by Catwoman was supposed to be when he got half his face scarred.
Oh, wow.
But,
I did not know that.
Yeah, but then, Hollywood bullshit politics happened, and, Billy D. lost out.
Contract issues.
Yeah.
Contract issues. So what's your, did you tell me your favorite Batman? I forget.
Mine's a tie between 1989 and 1966 movies. Adam West and Michael Keaton. Yep, Adam West and Michael Keaton. The two best live action
Those
Batman.
two were...
Two
Those
words.
are the two quintessential...
Shark repellent. That's
Yes. When that shark had him.
Shark repellent bat spray.
You're right.
Yes. Batman's got it all. I mean,
Yeah.
he's prepared for any given situation.
Yep. He's like James Bond, but way, way cooler. I'll die on that hill.
And way sexier.
Well, yeah, all the
Depending
leather.
on which Batman you go with. Speaking of sexy, who's the sexiest Batman?
That might be a triple threat match between West, Keaton, and Affleck, honestly. If we're talking about
Sexiest
yeah, because
actor?
if we're talking sexy
Over
as
Val Kilmer?
yeah, because if we're talking just sexy as Batman, then yeah,
Pure sexy. Okay, time out. No, time out. No, not just Batman, but sexy as Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yes.
You're going to make me separate Bruce Wayne and Batman? Jesus
No,
Christ.
no, I'm not going to make you separate Bruce Wayne and Batman because they're the same character. But I'm just saying that, the Adam West had that kind of that suave, swinging '60s kind of thing, but not perverted swinging. More along the lines of he'll get you breakfast the next day, or have Alfred make it
Yeah,
or whatever.
okay.
Michael Keaton, he's charming as hell. He's like,
he is.
so you can believe that. Like, you could believe Kim Basinger would totally fall in love with him. You could believe Michelle Pfeiffer would totally fall for him. You believe that any woman that he's in a scene with could be like, Beetlejuice. You could believe Gina Davis would fall in love with Beetlejuice. That's how charming Michael Keaton is. And he carries that over to Bruce Wayne. And Affleck has that kind of brooding, like, burnt out kind of, like, sex appeal to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And-
What about Brian, sexiest Batman? Go.
I never quite got over when Christian Bale's doing those push-ups. I mean, that's all I am. That was probably a defining Bruce Wayne moment for me.
In Batman Begins, you're referring to.
Right. It made me go, I need to do push-ups. And I looked over at my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, I need to do push-ups.
And he doesn't even
like, yeah,
he doesn't even just do push-ups. He falls down, catches
drops.
himself,
He
and pushes
falls down
himself
and
back
just,
up.
he starts rocking those out.
All right.
He is hardcore. Bale's hardcore. So he had just done before that, he did The Machinist.
Yeah.
And he got down to something ridiculous, like 120, something insane. I don't know if it was that low, but some insane
It's like
amount.
90 pounds
And then
or something
supposedly,
like that.
what's that?
It was like 90 pounds.
Yeah,
or
like something
that.
ridiculous.
Yeah, something crazy. And then supposedly he beefed up. He did Batman Begins right afterwards. Supposedly he beefed up too much for Batman Begins and then had to bring it back down. That's the way, what he does to his body is just pure insanity.
Like the way he beefed up from Batman Begins, like when Chris Nolan saw him next, it wasn't even. I think the story is they weren't even close to shooting, and Nolan's like, "What you're doing is unhealthy. Slow down. We're not ready to shoot yet. Just have a cheeseburger and relax for like a weekend."
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into it before we go go way off topic. And it's all my fault. Like I said, I'm a self-proclaimed terrible moderator. So
You're
here's
a
the rules of the
moderate
debates.
moderator. I mean, that's all.
What's that?
You're a moderate moderator.
I'm a moderate.
You're not
moderator.
terrible. You're a moderate moderator.
I'm moderately terrible. All right, here we go. Guys, the rules of the debate are: you will each be given 2 minutes to state your case, after which point we will proceed to back and forth between the two of you. I expect you to allow your opponent to speak without interruption, but if you have to interrupt them, then so be it. We will switch halfway through and choose opposing sides and complete the debate. The winner is decided by our audience via social media and all that shit, or I could decide. I haven't decided. I don't know. Who knows? Point is we're going to start greatest superhero of all time. I'm going to throw in some subtopics as we go through. Cameron, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes to debate. Why is Batman the greatest superhero of all time? You have the floor.
I'm not even going to go into like the tragic backstory, the loss of parents, all that stuff, because he's the prototype for that. Like every other hero, from Spider-Man to Wolverine himself, or the Punisher, who I consider a villain. They all have that thing of like, I lost somebody, but Batman's kind of like the prototype for that. What makes Batman the best is you can literally put him in any story, and as long as you do not break the core of the character, which is he takes the situation deathly serious, you can put him in anything. Now, you can put him in a comedy like the Adam West Show, because you can say a lot of things about the Adam West Show, but Adam West played it straight. Every villain was a threat. Every death trap could have been the end of them. He played everything straight, but that show is hilarious. You can have Batman fight aliens, predators, Terminators. You can have him, beam aboard the Starship Enterprise. You can have him fight Darth Vader. As long as you keep that core of he's taking it seriously, he can fight Frankenstein, fight Dracula, fight zombies. But he has to keep that core. And as long as you do that, you cannot break him, and he can be put in any kind of story. That's why he survived so long. He's been the Dark Knight. He's been the campy guy. He's fought in outer space. He's worked alongside the Justice League. He's been the Dark Knight. He's been the Caped Crusader. He's been on preschool cartoons, because you just can't break him. And if you do, that's because you went so far off the reservation with him. You went so far around the world that you slingshotted around and forgot who he was. That's the only way you can break him. So that's why, like, if you want a hero you can put in anything, he's the hero you can put in any kind of story.
All right. Bryan Todd, you have the floor. 2 minutes. Wolverine, go.
Wolverine is the best superhero because he has claws and he has adamantium skin and he can heal. Sorry.
Mic drop. Is that your mic drop moment?
No. Wolverine, I don't know if he's the best I don't even know if he's a hero. And that's one of the best things about Wolverine is that he's very complex. He's a complex character. He's had several different tragedies happen. He's, everybody he's ever loved has died pretty much. Some of them he killed himself, including the X-Men, including, his own, his own lady friend. He's had to kill people that he loved, and he's not happy about it. But he's also a very great team player. So he's been on the X-Men. He's been on the Avengers. He's not only a team player but a leader. He ran Xavier's school after Xavier, and he does the things that other people won't do. Like he'll do things that Batman won't do, and that's where we have X-Force that comes into play and things like that. So Wolverine he's the best.
There is.
Okay,
Wolverine
and
what he
is
does
just the best.
And what he does
isn't very nice.
Who's the more tragic character, do you think? Cameron, 1 minute, go.
Batman, because every time he sees something happen, he blames himself. Because his whole thing isn't about vengeance. He can't get revenge on Joe Chill. He can't. He's even forgiven Joe Chill. He held Joe Chill's hand as Joe Chill passed from cancer. He forgave him. So it's not about vengeance. It's about nothing. What happened to me can never, ever happen to anybody again. But then he sees it happen. He saw it happen to Dick Grayson in real time. It's like, it happened again. He sees it happen, and he knows he's fighting a war that he can't win, but he just keeps trying because that's better than knowing that he gave up. Because Thomas Wayne wouldn't give up, Martha Wayne wouldn't give up, Alfred never gave up on him, and he taught he taught his children to not give up. So what right does he have to give up? Even though every time he sees something happen, he's like, I could have stopped that. Even if it's impossible. He saw Superman, his best friend, die, knowing that, what the fuck could I do against Doomsday? But he felt guilty about it, because like, I could have done something instead of just sitting in my cave, but what could I do? He's racked by guilt for stuff that he knows he can't stop because he knows how it feels to hurt that bad.
And he loses Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Right? And the death in the family.
Yeah, he's lost so much personally, but then every time he sees someone suffer like he did, he goes, I failed. I could have done better. He never stops torturing us over the fact that I could have stopped that, but I didn't. No, I had to go to sleep.
Copy that. Okay, Brian, you're going to get 2 minutes, Wolverine.
Why is he the most tragic?
Yes. Or is he not? Is Batman more tragic? You tell me.
I don't think Batman's more tragic. I mean, Batman had one event. He's had several events throughout his life that have caused him tragedy, but he almost killed Superman himself. So there's that, and not just in the movie, but in the comic book as well. But Wolverine has been around since like 1880. He was, he fought the Nazis. He was in, Vietnam. He had his whole past taken from him. Wolverine's healing power is so much that all of his trauma, the healing power takes over, and it has him forget that trauma. So he relives things over and over. Everybody he's ever loved, because he is basically immortal, he knows that whoever he cares about will probably die before him. And he'll probably watch them die, if not have to kill them himself, as he's had to do. And we talked about Logan earlier. Professor X thought that Wolverine killed him. That was his mentor and everything like that, and he died that way. I think that's very tragic, and that's one of the reasons why he's the best, because of that complexity.
Yeah. Which character do you think has the greater cultural influence?
Batman.
Bryan
Wolverine, sorry.
Batman. Wolverine, no backsies. Wolverine, why is that?
Me, I can't argue that Batman has the most cultural significance, I would say. Him and Spider-Man and Superman probably are like have the most.
Yeah, Cameron? Do you concur, or what's your thoughts?
I concur 100%. And this isn't dissing Wolverine, but the closest thing he has to a symbol really is the X, which is the symbol of the X-Men. And he is iconic. Like, people know him across the world.
Oh, there we go.
But he doesn't wear it.
Oh, that's a great comic book cover. Sorry, for those who can't
X-Men.
See this.
Wolverine number 50, where he revisits Weapon X. And but the thing with Batman is, like, the 1989, when that movie came out, it was called The Summer of Batman, and that symbol was everywhere. It was on.
We even had
Batman.
We had Bartman at the time.
Batman haircuts. What's that? Oh, Bartman. Yeah, people were getting Batman haircuts. I mean, it was the biggest thing. Not to mention the amazing Prince soundtrack.
Yeah,
that was the biggest film that I can remember growing up.
Yeah, and he's like the only hero I can think of that has had different waves of like popularity where he was the thing. 1960s, the first wave of Batmania. Then 1989, it happens again. Then Chris Nolan, it happens again. Every so often, like, he's always ever present, but there's always that one time where when he comes back, he comes back huger than any other hero can come back. The only one I can really compare his kind of comeback to is the kind of comeback Spider-Man tends to have, and even then, it's not as big because Spider-Man his returns are always like closer and closer together. Batman, it's like almost every generation gets their own Batman, up until recently, admittedly.
Yeah. Let's go to our first subtopic question, even though every question has been sort of a subtopic. This is just a show about subtopics.
Yeah.
Because I can't stay on track. Let's see. Okay. What would your superhero choice look like in today's real-world setting? More importantly, fuck that question. Scratch that question. I hate it. Let's go with my subtopic, which to me I think is a better question. Which superhero would be better right now to help us out with the pandemic during this terrible, terrible, terrible COVID-19 that we all just hope goes away? Hopefully the vaccine goes and saves everyone like a magic bullet very soon. But till then, which superhero would have been best? Let's say back at the beginning of this, almost this time last year, which is crazy to think about. Which superhero would have been most helpful for us? Cameron first. 1 minute.
Batman. Bruce Wayne's a billionaire. He funds not one but several different vaccines, and then unleashes it for free himself. Distribution centers. And if anybody questions, well, like, he's just a rich guy. He's like, what's he gonna? He's putting bat microchips in the vaccines. He can also fall back and like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just hiring scientists to do it. I'm stupid. Give me a big-titted Playboy model to date. And he can pull that off, and no one was like, oh well, he's just doing it for the good graces. So it probably means the vaccine is good if he has no fucking clue what's in it, because he's a stupid idiot rich person. So he would use his whole Playboy antics, so no one would question. Was like, are you gonna track us? Are you easy? High five, and he goes down to the Batcave and showers, going, I feel dirty every time I do that.
So you think Bruce Wayne would use this opportunity to put chips into everyone so we can track villains?
No, he would use the Playboy thing to throw people off of that, so no one would really question, why is this billionaire doing this for free? What's his ulterior motives? Like, ulterior motive? Maybe it'll get me laid. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and then he goes down and I hate Playboys. I hate them. But he has to do it.
Right, Brian.
He has to do it to get people to take it.
Copy that. Okay, and Brian, Wolverine, or Batman for the pandemic?
Well, Batman number one, because he can cough into his cape like that because his mask is very not COVID friendly. So
His mask is not COVID friendly at all.
not at all. Wolverine has a healing ability, so he couldn't get COVID, and I don't know if he would care that. I don't know if he would really care that the world wasn't I don't think he could do much for it. So
Wait, he can't get COVID?
He can't
Can
get COVID.
Wolverine
with
not
his,
get diseases? He can't get AIDS or cancer or herpes or crabs. Well, he can get crabs, but not.
Well, not technically. Like the virus will enter his body, but then within seconds, antibody. So technically he gets it, but he doesn't feel it. It's more.
We might be able to use his cells to make a vaccine more than anything. That's the only way that Wolverine would be helpful in this day and age. Or taking out the orange guy. And I'm talking about the Thing, of course.
Yeah, the Thing, because
Of course.
they once had a really
talking about the Thing.
Yeah, because they once had a really big fight, and there might still be some hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins in that match? Thing versus Wolverine.
I think Wolverine.
It's a battle of wills, I
win.
bet.
Yeah,
so
because
Wolverine,
Ben Grimm is just too dumb to. No, not too dumb. He's just too prideful to go. You got me. I mean, he'll go toe to toe with the Hulk, knowing that the Hulk will beat the shit out of him. Going, he'll be like Rocky. Hey Hulk, I didn't hear no bell.
Well, the Hulk is one of the best. Hulk is one of the best. Him and Wolverine. Wolverine started in the Hulk's comic book. Basically, he was the great Canadian superhero. They made a Canadian superhero because they saw that readership was going up in Canada. So they're like, we need a Canadian superhero. The Hulk is going and sulking in Upper Canada, and he meets Wolverine. So they've been foils, but also friends a lot of the time. And that's something I really want to see on film is just the Hulk and Wolverine together, and the Hulk just
that'd be great.
throwing Wolverine at a bunch of enemies, preferably ninjas.
I would love it if it was.
Did I mention Wolverine fights ninjas?
Batman is a ninja.
And again,
Now you're just going to lead me to my. Well, let me ask you before I leave.
Well, no,
get to that question.
Wolverine's a samurai. Yeah, that's right.
he's a
Before
Roman.
we get to Batman versus Wolverine, which is a topic that we'll get to later, would any superhero be helpful right now for the pandemic, during the pandemic?
Realistically, I'd honestly say probably one of the bigger guns, like a Superman or a Batman would probably, or a Wonder Woman, somebody who has that level of power. And only that, especially Superman, who also has that level of trust that people have in him.
If Superman did PSAs where he was wearing a mask or something like that, maybe that would have helped to
Everyone.
Yeah.
So he would use his strength of popularity, not necessarily his superpowers.
Yeah, except he would probably carry the vaccine himself to people who really needed it first.
And he could get it there in super.
Yeah,
super
the only person maybe faster would be the Flash.
Interesting. Which one of these superheroes' villains would be the worst to have right now? One of Batman's villains or one of Wolverine's villains? And don't use an obscure one. Use one from their main rogues gallery, if you will. Brian, go first.
Well, I think Magneto wouldn't really give a shit about humanity as a whole, so he would let them all die. So there's that, and probably help the virus to spread as long as he could make sure that mutants didn't get it in one way, shape, or form. But he would probably help the spread of it more than anything. So if we're going with a villain that would make things worse, I would say Magneto.
Magneto? Cameron?
There are too many choices. The Joker would try to get a sample of it and then change it just enough so when you die, you get a smile on your face. So he would probably do that and then replace all the vaccines with the new Joker COVID.
Yeah.
No, for no other reason.
The Joker
for no
COVID.
other reason than just to watch and go, and 3, 2, 1. And then
COVID.
And then Ra's al Ghul would probably just sit back and go, okay, this takes care of most of the population, so when I take over, it'll be easier.
Yeah.
And then Poison
That was a
Ivy.
fantastic Joker. Yeah, that was a fantastic Joker laugh, by the way. Will you give that to me again? Wow.
I give up.
Brian, were you about to do Bane? Were you giving me some Bane back there?
The virus isn't a part of what we're doing here. The virus is the thing that goes wrong and cover.
I swear, Tom Hardy only takes roles if they can cover his mouth through at least 75% of the movie.
Or he
especially
like
Chris Nolan films.
Then I think the last villain would be Poison Ivy, just to be like, I could see if I can make this stronger with my plants, and then kill all the humans and let plants take over. So, Batman's got more than a few villains crazy enough or opportunistic enough to do it. Then that's just his villains. Then you got guys like the Riddler.
Interesting.
Then you just got guys like the Riddler or the Penguin who would take advantage of the black market for the vaccine.
Yeah, my gut, like which villain from either one of theirs, I feel like it would be Joker would be the worst of the worst to get to during this time. But we'll never know.
No, thankfully.
We'll never really know.
Thankfully.
Thank God. Okay, let's move on to our next question, which is, we're going to stray off topic for a little bit, and I know we haven't done that yet. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? Brian, go.
I think that healing one's pretty dope. You gotta admit. I mean, besides that you outlive everybody, I think that's probably a really good one to have. I was thinking, I always think about Rogue, and I think about her ability to take other people. So if we're in a world where superheroes and superpowers exist, I think maybe Rogue would probably be my favorite to have, because then you could have them all, basically. And I guess now she even has Captain Marvel's or something like that. I don't know.
Cameron?
I'm going to get really specific. I would want the Flash's powers, but a specific Flash. The Wally West Flash. The true fastest man alive, and he can take speed from objects and then give them the other people to temporarily give them super speed. He can vibrate through walls and choose to, and if he wants to, make the walls explode depending on how he vibrates through them. Run up walls, essentially be the single fastest thing on Earth. And also that translates into your body. Your metabolism is turned all the way up because all the calories you have to burn to be the Flash and go. So, run around the world, then go to like an Asian buffet, eat everything, then do it all again. All that stuff, and then there's a thing where you can do cool stuff like you're not bulletproof, but you could. But essentially, from the way you're moving, how fast you're moving, everything is frozen for you essentially, including bullets. Yeah. Meaning you can pluck a bullet from the air. You don't have to, or if you do it just right and curve your wrist perfectly, you can catch it. Now you're not bulletproof.
Okay,
you're
so Flash.
Yeah. The Wally West Flash.
So Flash,
I'm being very specific. The
Wally West Flash specifically. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I want telekinesis, or Batman's superpower of just being ridiculously rich. Does that count as Batman's power?
He says it's his power, so.
I mean, he's just really fucking rich.
Who's gonna disagree with Batman?
Yeah.
Aside from Robin.
Let me ask you a question, and Brian, we'll start off with you. If everyone in the world suddenly woke up tomorrow with superpowers, do you think that there would be more villains or heroes? Brian, you have 1 minute.
Villains.
Very sad.
Do you want me to elaborate why I think it would be villains? Is because I am pessimistic about human nature in general, and what people would do with powers. We already do heinous things without them, so I believe that we would have opportunistic individuals in that breath as well.
So you're thinking human beings are inherently evil?
I don't know if we're inherently evil, but I think that there's a I think that a primal instinct kicks in where you don't want one person to have more than you, or it's we tend to frame things as survival. So yeah, I think we'd have more villains than heroes.
Okay, Cameron.
It's complex because I kind of agree, but I don't think the villainous people would function that well. Because while humans have like kind of the nature to want more, humans also have the nature to kind of band together stupidly when they want to do those bad things. Like whenever you see like like true crime stories, you always see what happens to those big conspiracies is that somebody in that conspiracy fucks up, or they decide to go, wait, I can screw this person over and get off scot-free. So I think there might be more people who try crime, but I think the failure rate would just be enormous, just because I think with superpowers might come super cockiness. And I don't remember where this quote came from, but pride will fuck with you. So if you have all that power and you think you can do anything, actually Spider-Man's a perfect example of that. He had all this power, thought he could do
great
anything.
power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, and he thought he could do whatever he wanted. Then when he discovered then his selfishness bit him in the ass, and he felt too guilty to keep being that person. So
I think it was Marcellus Wallace that said that.
What's that, Brian?
I think it was Marcellus Wallace that said,
pride will fuck with you.
Pride.
Yeah, I think so.
Pride.
Is that from Pulp Fiction? Is that
think
a Tarantino quote? That's right.
When he's talking to Butch about throwing the fight. Don't let
He's talking about like, you think you're going to age like a fine wine, you won't. He wants him to drop the fight.
Fuck
Round.
pride.
But the thing is, even in even in the superhero universes, the villains far outnumber the heroes. Of course,
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's just even the Batman family or the X-Men. They're groups, but they're outnumbered by a lot.
So villains would be more.
Yeah,
Just
so
as
I
in
think
comic books.
So I think villains would be more plentiful, but I also think unless a lot of those super criminals get super brains and the powers of super cooperation, I just don't see that many villainous, super-powered Michael Corleones coming around who are so fearful that you're not going to cross them.
Oh man, God, I love that movie. Godfather not part 3. Well, let's not go into Godfather.
No.
Jesus.
The
All right,
pin-
let's
the
move
pin-
on to the next.
The Penguin is the Michael Corleone of supervillains. Maybe more so than Kingpin.
Penguin is a Michael Corleone of supervillains.
He's
interesting. Why do you say that?
Well, I'm talking strictly like the comic and animated series version, not so much the Batman Returns of '60s version, where he's like this. He tries to present himself as this, calm, respectable club owner. You can come to the Iceberg Lounge and get whatever you want. Then behind the scenes, he's just like, yeah. Did you hear what that guy at the bar called me? What'd he call you, boss? He called me Penguin. Yeah, boss. No one calls me Penguin. I am a respectable
I don't know. Is
businessman.
Michael Corleone is not. I mean, is he vengeful? Like, I guess he is vengeful like that. He
No,
he won't take.
I-
any
yeah,
disrespect.
because
I don't
he's-
know.
I would disagree and say Wolf's
But no, but the
Fist
thing
is
is, because
probably
in the first
is probably more.
in the first one, the whole thing of planting the gun to kill those guys. He says it's all business, but he's pretty eager to kill those guys who set up his father. So he
Yeah,
can
Brian,
say
what were you
it's
about to say?
all business.
Oh, I don't know. I just think that if you're going to say Penguin more than Wilson Fisk, I think that the whole point of The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 is taking a crime organization and making it legitimate. And Godfather Part 3, that's what they're doing, you know what I mean? Even Vito Corleone made the olive oil business, as it's all of the American dream of that. And I think that Wilson Fisk is one who, toes that line because all of his dirty work's in the shadows more than anything, I would say.
But see, I think the way Wilson Fisk breaks from that and goes to the other Pacino crime lord of Tony Montana is how petty and vengeful and bloodily vengeful he is, especially towards Daredevil. Like what he did to Matt Murdock, like destroying his life. I can see see Michael Corleone attempting that, but I can see a really, really pissed off Tony Montana going full on doing it more than I could see Michael Corleone doing it.
Let's not forget
Either
about
way,
Fredo. You know what I mean?
way,
It's his own brother, you know, for other reasons. Anyway.
Yeah, either way, Al Pacino is involved.
Yeah, he's
going to be
Either
there.
scenario.
He's psychically connected to the DC and Marvel universes.
Oh, man, Pacino, greatest actor of all time. But that's another show. Let's move on to the next question. Before we switch sides, let me ask you guys one of the major questions before I get into my final questions. And that is Wolverine versus Batman. Who wins? Cameron, you have 1 minute. I am timing you. This is a very strict debate. Go on.
Batman wins because the moment he notices a cut instantly heal, he knows that, oh, I don't have to pull my punches. I can pull every trick I know that could kill a guy on this guy, and I'll at least knock him out long enough to put him in captivity where they'll be able to hold him. So he could basically, shock him with the Batmobile or his own personal things. And punching a guy with a metal skeleton isn't that big a deal since he punches guys in thick metal armor from Firefly to Firebug. Yes, there's fucking 2 of them. To Mr. Freeze with his bare hands and also all his additional gadgets. So Wolverine's healing factor, it's not something you can ignore. But Batman's the kind of tricky motherfucker that will see something that you use as an advantage and go, how can I make this thing your worst fucking nightmare? That's what he does.
Brian. Okay. Brian.
I mean,
Batman.
even if Batman were to put Wolverine in captivity, Bruce Wayne's going to die at some point in time. Wolverine will still be alive and figuring out a way. Wolverine would gnaw his own arm off, in order to still live on. There's no question in my mind, if those two were really fighting, Batman's a human. Wolverine is a mutant. Batman would die.
Cameron, I'm going to let you respond to that. You got 30 seconds. Go.
There's only one man in the entire DC universe that Superman believes could kill him. And it's...
Hold on. Bryan Todd is holding... Bane is breaking... Bane is breaking Batman's back right in front of us for those at home who can't see this.
Am I going to respond to that, or am I going to respond to the because there are 2 different questions. One of them is there's only one person in the DC universe that Superman believes could actually kill him, and it's not Lex Luthor. It's Batman.
It's Batman.
Now, as far as the Bane thing goes, in that rematch, Batman beat the living shit out of Bane. Not the Jean-Paul Valley Batman. Bruce Wayne. And that comeback, because that first time around, Batman was sick with the flu. This is all part of the actual story. Like, sick with the flu, running a high fever, running on exhaustion. He had no energy left. Was up for like 72 hours straight.
He fought all the entire Rogues Gallery, right?
Yeah, on fear gas towards the end. And then that's when Bane strikes. Strategically, brilliant move on Bane's part. Strategically brilliant.
I feel like Batman's big thing is he needs to learn the person's weakness first. So Batman always needs a couple fights to really, truly beat an opponent, right? I feel like because Batman needs to study them. And once he learns about you, he's got you. But my gut is that I'm taking sides, is that like if we were to put them in a UFC cage match, I mean, who's going to really win in that fight? Brian, go ahead.
Even take away the claws, Wolverine wins in that fight because of just pure will and determination. I mean, Wolverine, his healing power is such that when he rages, it makes him stronger. He gets stronger because it builds him up. It builds up those things. So, I mean, Batman is just a human being no matter how hard, like how much he trains, no matter how agile he is or anything like that. Because he's a ninja. Wolverine knows what he knows. Wolverine knows several different fighting styles throughout all of his time working. So I just don't see how Batman wins.
I see how.
Cameron, respond 30 seconds. Go.
I see how. Wolverine's, he's a trained samurai. He's a Ronin. Over all his things, the one thing he counts on, everyone else counts on around him, is his honor. Batman is a Ric Flair, dirty fighting motherfucker. Throw sand in your eyes. He doesn't care as long as he wins. And the thing is, Wolverine, he said this, when he pops his claws, he feels the pain every time. So he heals, but he feels pain. He does have a pain threshold, and he also still has testicles. Hit him in the balls and just unload. That's Batman's
then
best.
It goes back
that's
as much as
that's
possible.
Batman's best play in a UFC kind of match. Play dirty. Fucking do not care. Be Ric Flair, dirtiest player in the game.
All right, guys, we're gonna stop right there. So we're gonna take this moment before I get into my final round robin section. We are gonna go ahead. I just burped into the microphone. I'm so unprofessional. Fuck it. We're gonna go ahead and switch sides. Cameron, you're gonna take Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you're gonna take Batman. Let's argue the same thing we were just talking about. Greatest superhero of all time. Why is Batman the greatest? Brian and Cameron.
Why do I always have to go first?
Brian, you go first. What's that?
Why do I always have to go first?
All right, fine. Brian hates going first. Cameron, you have the floor. You have 1 minute. Go.
Wolverine is the best simply by the fact that he can't really get what he wants. And the thing is, he doesn't know why he wants what he wants. He doesn't know why he wants Jean Grey. He doesn't know why he doesn't like Cyclops 90% of the time. He just knows that there's something in him that sets him off. He doesn't know why he hates Sabretooth exactly. He just knows that he hates Sabretooth. He's a guy who, like a lot of us, has these gut instincts that we don't understand why we are the way that we are. And he tries to improve upon them. He tries to move past and become a better person despite every single temptation thrown at him. You could just kill this guy who's annoying you at the bar. You could just fuck this girl. Who cares about her husband? You could just chop off Sabretooth's head. But it's like, that's not the way. I've got to be the person I need to be. And that's not the person I was. I can't be that guy anymore. We've all been through that. We all had that part in our past. We're like, okay, that's embarrassing. I don't want to do that anymore.
All right, your time is up, Brian. Batman.
We've already mentioned Batman's rogue gallery. I think Batman is the best superhero because he has the best villains. Period. That's all. And the other thing that I think is interesting about Batman is that, Wolverine is Logan, but Batman's the real dude, and Bruce Wayne is the costume that he puts on. I think that's one of the most interesting things about Batman, is that the real dude is the guy down there in the Batcave. The guy going out and pretending to, be a playboy and be flighty and things like that. That's the alter ego. So that to me is very interesting. The villains, I actually love.
Joker right there.
There's the 60. We have those, and unfortunately, they don't have the Eartha Kitt version. They just have the Julia Newmar version of that there. But yeah.
Oh wow.
And 66 was my.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So.
You guys came prepared. I love it. Is that the Adam West version of Batman that you just had, Brian?
Ish.
It's more like the 70s Neil Adams style.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I really love Batman, and I love Wolverine, but I think the best superhero movie is Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that's, you know what? You must be psychic, because best superhero movie of all time was one of my questions. We can go right into it then. Your choice is Spider-Man into the what is it again?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. That's
right. I just love that. It was such a revelation when I saw it on in 3D on the screen. It's one of those things where 3D really helped out a lot.
And what is the? I've only seen it a couple times. What's the Spider-Man called? Miles Morales. No, Miles Morales. Right. What a great character.
But my favorite superhero movie is Darkman, actually, which
Raimi
made because
Liam Neeson.
Darkman's so funny.
Raimi made because Raimi made because he couldn't do Spider-Man, I think, or he
No,
couldn't
it
do
was
Batman.
Yeah, he couldn't do Batman, so he does
Yeah.
Darkman. Like,
That's his answer. Darkman. That's a fantastic. What year is that? Is that 88?
I want to say it's almost 19. I want to say like it's 90 almost.
90.
Is it
Yeah, I would
90s?
say 90.
Like-
I gotta look that up real quick.
Like it's either 89 or 90, and I'm leaning towards 90 just because of how Bruce Campbell looks at
It is not. It is 90.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell's age gave it
Yeah,
away.
it's 1990. No, Bruce Campbell. What do you mean? Bruce Campbell's. He's not in Darkman, is he?
Yeah, he's at
What's
the
name Neeson?
at the very end, the last face Darkman puts on to blend in is Bruce Campbell's face.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a little bit of trivia. I don't even remember that. I'm gonna have to rewatch that. I haven't seen Darkman in so long.
Julie.
What a great movie. So wait. So is your choice is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse
Yeah.
for
sure.
best superhero movie of all time?
Yeah, why not? It's
I
all
love it. It's a
arbitrary
great choice.
anyway, so yeah, why not?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What about you? Best superhero film of all time.
1989 Batman.
It's tough.
It's 1989 Batman. It's instantly that.
Mm.
Because I've never seen a comic book movie that so perfectly encapsulates the war between the hero and his arch villain the way that one does. It's perfectly encapsulates. And I would even say that it kind of cheats that by saying that Joker in that movie killed Bruce's parents, but it's the easiest way to get Batman to that level of pure, unadulterated, fuck this guy hatred that he has
Yeah.
to have for the Joker.
Yeah.
And then the Joker has that entire thing of, I don't care, this is fun. It's got two, and the thing is, it's the only movie I can think of that gives two separate soundtracks to its hero and its villain. Danny Elfman, he scores everything Batman. Prince writes all of Joker's music.
Does everything Joker.
Yeah. So Prince in purple, Danny Elfman in
Yeah.
black. I mean, Party.
I'll definitely give you it's yeah. I'll definitely give you it's the best superhero soundtrack of
Yeah.
all time. I mean, that's no question for me. For
Yeah.
me, the best movie, it's got to. I mean, Nolan's Dark Knight, and then I would toss in the original Christopher Reeve Superman. I think, but I might be heavily biased because my childhood. I love that film so much.
Christopher Reeve.
Gene Hackman is a fantastic Lex Luthor.
Christopher Reeve alone is what makes that movie. I only wish that Gene Hackman in that movie could be as evil as he is in like this one split second scene where Christopher Reeve comes in and goes, "Is that how you get your kicks, Luthor? Imagine thinking up the death of millions of innocent people." And then without any of like the kind of, wink wink campiness he's been doing before, Hackman goes, "No, by causing the deaths of millions of innocent people." How cold he is. Like I wanted him to do that the entire time as Lex. Just be like that.
He's very campy
Yeah.
and wink wink in that movie.
But
it's fun.
that moment where he's just like, "No, by causing the death of millions of innocent people." It's just like, oh. But like Reeve pretty much carries that movie in my opinion.
I'm gonna also throw in the first Iron Man.
I also want to.
I love that
Yeah.
film. I think it's the best of the MCU.
It's one of the best origin movies ever. But it's weird because on that subject, I'd also want to throw in the original Robocop because I count that as a superhero movie. It's a superhero origin.
Is that a superhero movie?
He has
Isn't that sci-fi?
It's
Is that
sci-fi,
superhero?
but it's also superhero because he has a superhero origin. He's killed. He comes back with great powers, and he's essentially and he's fighting crime.
I love RoboCop. Who's the part man, part robot, all cop?
Part man, part.
Who's the villain? Who's the villain? The actor from that '70s show. He's fantastic.
Kurtwood Smith.
Oh my god! When he comes in to before he blows the guy up with the grenade, he goes, "Bitches leave."
I work for
And
OCP.
he's always
OCP owns
Yeah.
the cops.
He's always snorting water. That's a great
I'll
movie.
buy that
Brian, you've
for
seen
$1.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $1. That's a very dark film. What year is that? What year is RoboCop? Where are we now?
I wanna say
early 90s or late 80s?
I want to say 87.
87.
Yeah, I want to say 87.
You guys are correct. It is 1987.
Verhoeven.
Oh, and also there's a RoboCop Iron Man connection because in the movie the first crime RoboCop stops, not Murphy, the criminal throws an Iron Man comic onto the counter before he tries to rob the couple.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Was there a RoboCop cartoon?
Yeah, it was really weird because Clarence
There was a
bought.
RoboCop
So because
song.
RoboCop is such a dark. There was in 1988. RoboCop is such a dark fucking movie. And,
RoboCop.
really a political commentary as well.
Yeah, and
What's that?
There's also
remember
a
the
Rambo
song?
cartoon.
Hold on, Brian. You were saying something?
RoboCop, dance till you drop with the RoboCop. I like it. They did all the sound bites from the movie. You don't remember that?
Oh my God! Did they
I
really?
was-
Is that like
very
the, is
old.
that like is that like the Jean-Luc Picard song? You know, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, the USS Enterprise.
Look up the RoboCop song. It's up there with like Walk the Dinosaur, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
like a great.
You were about to mention the Rambo cartoon. That was so
Yeah.
funny because that was such a thing of the late '80s and early '90s to animate, and not in a good, but try and make child friendly something
Yeah.
that's in kind of super dark. Like Rambo's a hard
Yeah.
R, a lot of death, super violence. RoboCop, super dark and violent, and yet they try to make it a kid's film.
Yeah.
They don't make like an animated version like like they do with Batman
Yeah.
and whatnot, and still it's kind of adult themed. They make it specifically for young children, and it doesn't work. At least not in like, it works in an ironic sense, but it doesn't work in like story mode.
They
story sense.
they almost did it for Aliens because they had that entire kids toy line for Aliens. They almost did a cartoon show because all the Space Marine
Yeah.
designs were based on what was going to be the cartoon show.
Well, I'd imagine they make the cartoon specifically to sell toys.
Yeah, but
They probably come up there like, oh, we got a toy line, we got to figure out a
Yeah.
way to sell these.
but nobody bit on the cartoon. But apparently the toys still sold amazingly because Aliens look cool.
Yeah. What else have they done that with? Have they tried to make a child-specific cartoon from an adult movie?
They tried with Commando, but it never.
Did they? They made a Commando cartoon?
Yeah, because they have.
Shut the fuck up.
No, they tried. They released toys that would have been tied into it, but again, nobody bit because of how really over the top Commando was.
Brian, you think of any? Can you think?
There was that Eyes Wide Shut cartoon for kids.
Oh my God, that would be so good.
And-
We actually talked about that in the last podcast.
Every week, Tom Cruise's character gets in another sexy adventure that goes, "Don't you do that again!"
Oh wow, I would want to see that. Ah, I want that so bad now.
I guarantee it's on the internet somewhere. There is something of that.
It
on the
exists
internet.
somewhere.
Rule 34.
It exists on the dark web, for sure. Okay, let's get to our final few questions here. We were talking about Superman. I know this has been discussed before, but what are your guys' opinions? Can Superman realistically have sex with a human being? Brian, you hate going first, so I'm going to
I'll go first. That's okay. I would say yes, is my answer. He doesn't like break every door that he opens. He has to have some type of restraint. He doesn't burn everybody with his eyes. He has the
Right.
ability to,
But wouldn't he have
finesse
super
it.
calm? I mean, wouldn't that just
well,
bust,
he
like,
can't.
I
He
don't see
can't.
it.
He can't bust inside. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he's got. Oh, Cameron disagrees. Cameron's saying no. Superman doesn't have to. He has to pull out because you can't control your ejaculation. That's gonna go through a fucking wall like a speeding bullet.
He's married to Lois. They have a kid, meaning that they fucked.
How does that work? Do the comics address this? Because I call bullshit. How does this work?
For me, it's common sense because here's why it's common sense. Because if Superman had like no control over like involuntary actions, because like he can sneeze. So growing up, he would have had to have like, at some point have sneezed and blown away all the Kent's corn crops. And he eats, which means he has to expel waste, but he doesn't take a shit at the Fortress of Solitude. He does it at his apartment. And he goes to the bathroom.
That's right.
Superman does not shit. I'm sorry. It just does not happen.
Superman doesn't shit?
Superman does. I'm just kidding.
No,
You've gone too far now, Cameron.
I'm just saying.
Superman, does he shit? I mean, he has super shits. He would break every toilet.
But that's the thing. He does it, and he does eat. He has favorite foods. He loves his mom's baking. He eats every time he goes to Wayne Manor. He eats all of Alfred's food, which means he has to expel that waste.
I'm convinced Superman can bust it.
Yeah,
inside.
Yeah, because the other thing about his powers is unless he's like asleep and he's subconsciously dreaming a flight, then he'll float in his bed. He'll usually just stay in bed. So he has control over his powers. He's not.
What if he has a nocturnal emission, though?
If he has a nocturnal emission, it's still the same as busting inside Lois.
Not if he's not. If he's having a dream he's flying and he starts to fly, and then he has a dream he's coming and he starts to come.
Well, the thing is, flying is kind of like a peaceful thing. He's just kind of floating. He's not actually flying all through Metropolis. He's just kind of floating above his bed.
So does he have to control his piss when he takes a leak, or
I assume if he really has to go and he's been holding it in all the way back from Mars, then yeah, he'll probably have to control the flow then, because he's been backed up for a couple hours at least.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Well, the thing is, he's married, he has a kid, meaning that he and Lois have fucked at least once.
Yeah, and they don't address that at all. In the comics, he has a kid.
No, the only thing that anybody's ever said is like Batman going, "I don't know how the hell you did this. The DNA should not be compatible." That's the thing that Batman's concerned about. It's not like you can fucking come in her. It's more like, I don't like this doesn't like he's a pure like Spock logic, like this doesn't make sense, Captain. Your DNA doesn't match up.
Well, guys, that does lead us to the conclusion of the podcast. I'm going to give you both. You're going to switch back to real quick to your original characters. You have 1 minute to give you one final bullet to the other person. Batman over Wolverine. Cameron, go first. Why is Batman the greatest superhero of all time?
You can put him in any story. You can put his villains in any story. They're all almost impossible to break. And he's a spin-off factory. Dick Grayson, the original Robin, grew up to be Nightwing, who went into the Teen Titans, who then spun off their own heroes. Batgirl then spun off into Suicide Squad, and then Harley also jumped into Suicide Squad. Justice League, then he had his own team, the Outsiders, which involved even more spin-offs, like he brought in Black Lightning, Metamorpho. He is a one-man superhero universe who just happens to be in a much larger superhero universe. And you can do anything with him as long as you don't break the rule of he takes the situation seriously at all times.
I like that. Bryan Todd.
For complexity, for heartbreak, for just wonderful stories, I gotta go with Logan, Wolverine. He too is a spin-off factory. Everything from Wolverine the X-Men to Uncanny X-Force. But he's a leader, he's a follower, he's a lover, he's a fighter. And in the newest iteration, I forgot about this, the newest iteration, I think it's House of X, he's actually... His bedroom on the moon, they live on the moon. His bedroom on the moon has a door that goes into Cyclops and Jean Grey's room. So they've figured this thing out in one way, shape, or form, as far as whatever that might be.
They're a throuple.
But I would just like to say that it's been a pleasure talking nerdy during this whole time with you all, because it's not something I get to do a lot of, in daily life. So it's been a pleasure. And I love Batman too.
The pleasure's all over here, guys. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast. Do either of you have anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to tell us about? Anywhere you'd like people to go follow your stuff or anything? Anything at all?
I have some I have some short films up on my YouTube channel called it's Duper DOOP3R. That's my channel.
All right, D. Say that again.
DOOP, then the number 3, then R.
All right.
Awesome.
Dupe Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian?
Anything? Not really, you know. Everybody have a safe remainder of 2020, and I'll probably see everybody out and about in 2022.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to Let's Hug It Out podcast with Roberto Raad. Please follow us on all your standard podcast channels. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Hug It Out podcast. And we will see you next time, guys. Thanks so much. Bye.
Same bat time,
almost did the
same
Superman
bat
song.
channel.
And what sound does Wolverine make? What does he do?
Snicked.
Yeah, bub.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he takes.
There it
Then
is.
he takes a drag.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
And then a drink. Then a drink. Real quick question. Afterthought. Who's the bigger alcoholic, Wolverine or Batman?
Wolverine.
Iron Man.
Wolverine.
Oh yeah, well yeah, the Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Yeah, he actually.
The problem with
yeah, Iron Man wins by default.
Yeah.
The problem with Wolverine
No.
is because of that healing factor, he has to drink a whole lot for it to even make any iota of.
Wait, can Wolverine even get drunk?
It takes a lot.
Let's put it that way.
The main reason he drinks is so the alcohol bubbles will keep him afloat when he swims.
Oh.
Because his main fear is drowning, because he said that's the one death he can't come back from.
Interesting.
Why is that the one death
I
he
didn't
can't
even
come
know
back from?
Because
Why don't more people drown Wolverine?
No, because he drowns, he sinks, his flesh rots, and his brain's dead. So his powers are no longer like getting the information. Fix now.
Is that the same? Like, would you have the same thing if you shot him out into space?
No, because that would weirdly preserve him, like Captain America. Like Captain America got preserved by being frozen. So you can either drown him or cut his head off and then burn the nerve endings.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're going to leave it right there. We're going to leave it on there. The best ways to preserve and or kill Wolverine. Guys, Bryan Todd, Cameron Ballanfonte. Guys, thank you so much for doing this podcast. I hope to see you again soon. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Social distance.
Thanks, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
Get the vaccine. And I'll see you guys. Guys, thanks for watching and listening to Let's Hug It Out podcast with Roberto Raad. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.